All right, let's dive into this, shall we? Leather messenger bags, huh?
Oh,
You weren't kidding around with this request. There's a whole stack of articles and links. You're serious about this.
there's something about the craftsmanship and the history, It's more than just a bag, isn't it?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And you actually sent over something from a company called Steel Horse Leather, and they have this incredible page on their site all about leather. It's like a love letter to leather, honestly.
Well, they are selling something, but you're right, they really go deep. They even get into comparing genuine leather to nylon and polyester and even synthetic leathers.
And spoiler alert, they are Team Genuine Leather all the way. They're really big on how long a good leather bag can last.
Yep.
Like, we're talking outlasting their owner long.
And there's something to be said about that. It's incredibly durable stuff. Naturally tear resistant, puncture resistant, even fire resistant. You don't get that with synthetic.
Fire resistant. Seriously.
Yeah. It makes you think twice about those bags that fall apart after a year, huh?
Right. Makes a good case for spending a little more on something that will last.
That's the philosophy, right? Quality over quantity. And it's not even just about how tough leather is. They talk about comfort, too, which honestly, I don't think I would have thought about.
Me neither. I always thought leather bags would be kind of stiff.
Yeah.
At least until you break them in or something, What's the deal there?
Breathability. Leather's a natural material, right? So it actually breathes, has pores that allow airflow. Unlike some synthetics that can trap heat and moisture, leather's way more comfortable for longer periods.
Makes sense. Nobody wants a sweaty back from their bag, that's for sure.
Yeah.
But, okay, we've got to talk about the way this Steel Horse Leather talks about how leather ages.
Yeah.
They are really into it.
As they should be. It's one of the most fascinating things about leather, how it develops a patina over time, that gorgeous, rich, worn look. Each bag ends up unique. You don't get that with synthetics. They just wear out.
I'll admit, I always thought the whole patina thing sounded a little pretentious.
Yeah.
But the way they describe it, it's like your bag is telling a story, Changing with you over time. Kind of cool, actually.
Exactly. It's an evolution. You're not just buying a bag, you're investing in something that will grow with you.
That's a cool way to look at it.
Yeah.
Okay, so we've got durability, comfort, style. But they also bring up something that's a pretty big deal these days. Environmental impact. And they seem to think that when it comes to being environmentally friendly, leather has the edge.
Yeah, they're big on the fact that leather's biodegradable, unlike all that synthetic stuff that hangs around in landfills forever.
It really makes you think about what happens to your stuff after you're done with it,
It does.
Yeah.
And they tie that whole idea into their approach to making these bags. They're all about handcrafting, which they see as a direct contrast to, well, I think they said serial mechanized production.
Yeah. They actually called it industrialized monotony at one point, which, I don't know, I kind of chuckled at that. But it does make you wonder, is there really a difference? Like, does handmade actually equal better quality?
That's their argument. They say when you handcraft something, you can focus on all the little details. You get more precision, more care put into each stitch and cut. And that, they say, leads to a product that lasts longer.
They talked about how their craftspeople actually inspect each piece of leather, too. To make sure there aren't any flaws and that they're using the best parts.
Right. So each bag's been handled by, a bunch of different skilled people before it even gets to the customer.
Exactly. It's a whole different ballgame than just, churning out bags in a factory.
It's more like, I don't know, comparing a print to an original painting.
Right. And speaking of one of a kind, they talk about two specific bags, the Gustav and the Welch, almost like examples of this whole philosophy.
Yeah. The Gustav sounds like a serious workhorse. A big, tough messenger bag built to haul a laptop and a ton of other stuff. They're all about how practical and durable it is, especially with the strong stitching and the leather they use.
I'm picturing like an Indiana Jones type throwing it around.
Yeah.
It gets better with every adventure.
Exactly. And then there's the Welch, which is more like, well, I guess you'd call it a more sophisticated messenger bag, like a briefcase, but cooler.
For the professional who still wants to look a little bit rugged.
Yeah. So they're not just talking about one type of bag here, right? It's
Yeah.
more about how this craftsmanship can be applied to all kinds of different styles.
Right. And then they mentioned that they make all sorts of other leather goods, weekender bags, backpacks, wallets, belts, all made with the same attention to detail.
So it's like they're saying, hey, if you like our bags, check out our other stuff.
Exactly. They're all about this whole heritage, quality craftsmanship thing.
Yeah. It's a pretty compelling message, especially these days when it seems like everything is mass-produced.
Totally. But, it makes you wonder, we've been talking about leather like it's the only option. But those other materials must have some good qualities, right? Otherwise, why would anyone buy them? I mean, they're not totally knocking those other materials, are they?
Right. Take nylon, for instance. It's lightweight, water resistant, usually easier on the wallet, too.
Yeah, definitely more practical for just everyday stuff, probably. You don't have to worry about, like, your nylon bag getting caught in a downpour.
Exactly. You said it. And what about PU leather? It might not have that same aging process as genuine leather, but it can look pretty close, and it's way cheaper.
True. Sometimes you just need a bag that works. No need to get fancy.
Right. So it all comes down to what matters most to you, doesn't it? Durability, cost, style, the environment. You got to weigh those things against each other.
And speaking of the environment, we've been talking about how leather biodegrades. But what about how it's made in the first place?
That's the big question, isn't it? Leather might be natural, but some tanning methods are pretty rough on the environment.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Like, there's that saying, the most sustainable product is the one you already own, right?
Exactly. And if you are going to buy something new, you really got to do your homework. Find out about a company's practices. Like, do they use vegetable tanning? Where do they even get their leather from? Important stuff.
Good point. It's like, I don't know, it's almost like choosing a bottle of wine or something. There's a whole world behind it. And the more you know, the better your choices are.
Totally. And it seems like with a leather messenger bag, especially the kind Steel Horse Leather makes, you're not just buying a bag. It's more than that.
It's like making a statement, right? About your style, the quality you care about.
Exactly. It all ties back to those questions you had at the beginning about finding something special, something with a story behind it.
It's been a fascinating deep dive. I know I've learned a lot. So what are your final thoughts for our listeners who are thinking about getting themselves a leather messenger bag? What should they keep in mind?
Well, I think they're on the right track just by being curious. They clearly care about the quality, the sustainability, all of that. Keep asking those questions. Find those companies that share your values. Do a little research on materials and how things are made. And most importantly, pick a bag you love. Something that feels like you and that you'll use for years to come.
Well said. It's a journey, finding the right bag.
Yeah.
But that's part of the fun, right? Thanks for joining us for another deep dive. See you next time.